Hey there, wonderful people. This is Beth, and today we're talking about the integration of change, what I like to call the pause. It's so easy to get caught up in the change. And a lot of the self help stuff and a lot of the stuff you read with spirituality is break down this block, get through that block, get rid of this, fix that, do that, change this, forgive that. And what it does is start to set up a modality in your life of constant change. And I am huge on metamorphosis. I love it when my clients go through this process and come out the other side, and it's glorious. When it happens to me too, it's very exciting, and I see it, the cycles in my life of change happen. And there are certain times though where you need to stop, you need to pause, and you need to not work on what you perceive as blocks, or forgive this and forgive that and change this. And, oh, I gotta fix that over there. Oh my God, that's just not good. You just need to put it all on pause, hit pause, kink, and stop and figure out where you are, especially if you've already went through a metamorphical process of changing your life. That right there in general, really, once you've been through big change, you need to just hit that pause button and be like, where the hell am I? Who am I? How do I work now? Because that is a huge thing, figuring out where you're at currently. What do you need to forgive? What perceived block do you need to work on? And really, I think of the blocks these days not as blocks, but as old protectors who may or may not be so helpful anymore. At one point, they served a purpose, they helped you through something, and then they got incorporated into general population and used over and over for a decade, and you're like, it didn't work so well in the long run. But at some point in time, that's perceived block that I think of as a protector. Yeah, it's like your ego inner critic creature who's like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. No, 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 no. That's new. Don't. New, bad, bad. Status quo, good. It's that kind of thing, that you have this pattern built up, and that's where you work from. And a lot of times after you change, that pattern may have changed. That protector perceived block may have been retired, and you haven't even paused to figure that out yet. That's why taking a break and letting you integrate what you've learned, what has changed fully, is so important. As I had a point where when I worked with my death card year, oh my God, change, change, change. By the time I got it through my head that change is gonna be what I need, well, I knew I needed. I was just resistant. For whatever reason, I'm human. This is what humans do. They resist change a lot of times, and times it can be hard to step into it. It's scary, it's terrifying, you're not sure where it's going to lead you. And so I resisted for a long time, but once I did step into that change, it was wonderful, and things got a lot better. Sure, there were hard bits, but by the time I was done with that huge, intense change, and I got out of the death card and I flipped into the Hierophant, which basically, as a year card, which made me, I mean, seriously energetic trip there. It's like, wait a minute. It was such a different energy than working with the death card. That was like, whoa, to begin with. And then also the realization that in that year with my death card year, a lot of change did happen. There was a transformation. There was a rebirth. And my old skin was shed, and I had to figure out what my new skin held. Quite literally, because I went on a journey and got skinned and sewn into a new skin suit with the Dark Lady and himself from the Frat's Fairy Oracle. So quite literally, I had to figure out what that new skin suit held for me. How was it going to work for me? How did I want to grow into that new skin suit? And so I put a pause on change and working things because I realized one day I was doing my forgiveness practice, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, this has been forgiven. And at this point in time, the aspect of it is resolved. That's not to say that it's not going to come up in another manner later on, because that's how we work. And it doesn't mean you didn't do the work before. It just means things kind of change and have different permutations. And if it's deep, it's going to bubble up again in another manner. So, but I just realized I'm forgiving stuff I don't even know if I need to forgive anymore, at least for now. And so stopped. I pretty much stopped all that kind of, I'm going to work on my blocks, I'm going to do this. And I stopped it. I hit my pause. And for hair, about 3 years. 3 years of kind of pause on huge change. Small change is fine. You've really with the hair font, just huge pause. Not a lot of change working, but a lot of integration working and taking the time to this is where I'm at now. This is who I am now. Exploring that new territory of self has made a huge difference. And I would really say the hair font year was the exploration of where I am. What was brain cramp, hair font, bam, bam, bam. What's after 5, 6? Lovers, right? Right, lovers. Yeah, I can never remember. 13, death. 4, emperor. 5, Hierophant after that till, yeah. Yeah, so see, you can work with tarot for a long time and still forget your numbers. I forget them all the time. But it's lovers, and then whatever came after lovers. Is that this year? But, and then also lovers was another huge year of also, not so much integration, but putting the integration to work. Of taking the time to be like, hey, so we understand where we are. How do we use this now? How do we integrate that aspect of using what we have changed, what we have learned and know we changed? How do I put that to work in my life? So between the integration and then learning how to use what I integrated, it's been 2-3 years since I've worked some hardcore change. And I've done some minor stuff and some minor things, tweaking, refining how I want to be, but not on the level that I did with my death card year. And coming into strength year now, I'm finding that I'm in a change modality again. Moving into things that I have identified now that need that effort of creating metamorphosis in that area of my life. And I would never know this if I had not taken time to pause, time to integrate, to learn how to use that integration, how to use what I've learned and make it mine, and really bring it in and make it deep and internal so it becomes ingrained. And hopefully, eventually, it's going to be more ingrained than those old patterns that I used to use that were not helpful. It's just negative self-talk, reliving things. That was one thing that was huge after forgiveness. One day I was like, whoa, wait. Negative self-talk and reliving kind of just, it still happens. Not going to say I'm perfect, because I'm not. But to the extent that it used to happen, especially, both of them, huge, huge change. And if I wouldn't have taken that time to pause, I'd still be giving that whole reliving and negative self-talk issue. I'd still be going there in the way it was. Now those are things that pop up in times of extreme stress. And old patterns definitely will pop up. When you're super stressed out for whatever reason, they're going to rear their ugly head because they're kind of like a default. It's an old setting that, you kind of fall back on that old autopilot because there's a certain comfort in that. Even if it's not nice to you, there is this kind of comfort of not having to think about it and falling into that pattern of what was. So take a look at that too. When you fall back into it, what's going on in your life that's stressful? Where are you feeling very vulnerable even at times when they pop back up. So don't freak out, if they rear up again. Because believe me, after Dad's death, it there's definitely old behaviors that came back up as coping mechanisms, and that was fine. I mean, that was extremely stressful having my dad. For those of you who don't know, my dad had Parkinson's, and one of the things that happens with Parkinson's is hallucinations and delusions, and the medications can also make those worse. So he had that. When he died, he thought people were trying to kill him. Very sad. But, so I went through the stressful thing, went through a stressful death, and yeah, you're going to see those old behaviors pop up. And that's okay. You just be like, okay. You just got to treat them with a lot of love, believe me. Because otherwise, it's just not going to, be kind to yourself and your crappy old coping mechanisms. It's okay. Because really what it comes down to is when they pop back up, you're like, oh wait, I'm using crappy old coping mechanisms as opposed to my new shiny sparkly ones that actually do support me. So all you can do is say, okay, I know I'm stressed and I need to go down to the basics of my self-care. And sometimes that gets really, really stripped down to basic hygiene and knowing you need more rest, especially if you're under duress, if you're tired, things like that. So take a look at how that goes too. When you're under duress, they're going to pop up. But really, take time to pause after big change and integrate. Get to know who you are now, how you work, how you want things to work for you. It makes a huge difference next time you cycle into another huge metamorphosis. You're going to have a better base to work from. You're going to have a current base to work from. It's kind of like remodeling your house. You just did a remodel, and now, enjoy your remodel. That's kind of what the pause and the integration and the learning how to use it all is enjoying that remodel of yourself, of your being. Okay. Thank you for watching. Ooh, before I forget, Mayday sale. Mayday sale is going to be coming up May 1st and 2nd. 2 days only. All tarot and oracle cards. Readings are half off. So keep your eye out for that. May 1st and 2nd. 2 days only. Alrighty. Much love. See you around. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful day. Go out there and be the love.